he's actually gone. Can't really be surprised. Come with a different side of the city this time, but this has got a very familiar feeling to when Brendan Rodgers left Celtic, obviously. Halfway through the season, your team's top of the league, you're going for a defence of your title, and out of nowhere you go to a mid-table English team. So, my mate John, who was quite rightly joining my pals a few years ago and giving me a bit of stick for Brendan going down the road and up in sticks and leaving during the night. It can just as easily happen on the other side of the coin, because it's football, isn't it? No matter how much these guys say that they love the club or they've loved their time being there, they've adopted them or they've been a fan all their life or all this stuff, the reality is when the English Premier League comes calling for most managers are going to take it. So, pros and cons of it. Obvious cons for Rangers right away is that they've lost a manager that's built a team that suits his style of play very much. It'll be interesting to see how they react after the international break with whoever does come in, because he got them playing in a way that suited the way he wanted to coach the team. Like, whoever comes in is going to have to either try and do something similar to maybe what Lennon did after Rodgers left, and try and nurse the team through until you can actually try and build a new one themselves, or run the risk of completely changing the style to whoever the new manager's style is, and then risk the results collapsing straight away. Rangers have good players, so theoretically whoever comes in, if they do want to change the style, they should be able to adapt to that. But they've been used to playing the same way for so long. Like, he was there 3 and a bit years, and the Rangers have always played the same way, always the same style of play. Like a narrow 4-3-3, very compact, very hard to break down, and they take their chances when they get them. That's one thing about Rangers over the last few years. They've been a very clinical team. So whoever comes in is going to have to have a big job on their hands, not only in the long term, obviously, but in the short term as well, because, again, that's the other thing. As we know, they've not been nearly as dominant as they were last year on domestic level. But never fear, Rangers fans. There are pros to the situation for you. It might not seem like it right now. A lot of emotions are running high. I've already seen videos of people smashing up signed photographs of Steven Gerrard, and people who have ordered pictures of him, wanting to burn them on arrival. And there'll be people chucking their shirts in the bin and stuff like that. But this wound will heal. Again, the similarity to Rodgers. At the time, I was very angry with Brendan, and it's one of those things that can make you hurt that much is because how much you love their time at the club and how much you love them as a manager. Rodgers did so much for Celtic fans when he was at Celtic. We loved him being in charge. We loved the way he played. We loved the results he brought. Same goes for Rangers fans with Gerrard, because he came in and he's one of them. He immediately got what it was to be a team that size, because obviously he was at Liverpool his whole career. He got the fans on side really early. They believed in him. They believed in what he was building. And as I've mentioned before, one criticism of him was that he didn't win maybe more trophies, but he won the most important one. And in time, history will be kind to him, and he'll be remembered as the guy that stopped Celtic winning 10 in a row. And the Rangers fans will ultimately remember him well. It hurts now, but in time that will heal. They will remember Gerrard as a positive figure in a Rangers, albeit short history. But they actually could upgrade in terms of who they get in, namely Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, who's been touted as the bookies' favourite to take over. A guy who played for Rangers for a few seasons back in the late 90s and early 90s. Won trophies with Rangers, won trophies everywhere he's been, got to a World Cup final with Holland. He was an amazing player, won a Champions League with Barcelona, went on to be a very good manager as well so far in his career at Feyenoord. I think it was the first title in 18 years he brought back to Rotterdam. He won the cup with him as well. He won the Dutch Super Cup. It was like the Cruyff Shield, I think it's called. And he's won everything there is to win in Holland. He went away to China for a payday. He was there for one season, and quite right. I would take it if I was getting offered the amount of ridiculous money that the Super League's been offering players and managers in recent seasons. But he's now unemployed, and this could be a great opportunity for Rangers to get the fans back on side by bringing in a guy who they obviously have good memories of. He won trophies at Rangers, and he's obviously a good manager. He's able to get Feyenoord, who hadn't won the league for so long, to a Dutch title. Other names are being touted are guys like McInnes. I don't think they'll go for him because he turned them down a few years ago, and that's obviously going to leave a bad taste in not only the board's mouth from last time, but the fans as well. ex-player turning them down to stay at Aberdeen, one of Rangers' biggest rivals. I don't think that would sit well as an appointment with some fans. You've got other guys who have held, like Callum Davidson and St Johnstone. Again, I can't see him getting the... I know he did amazingly with St Johnstone last year, but I don't think Rangers will go for him. They'll probably try to aim for somebody else. Russell Martin was getting touted last night. I can't see that again. I think the potential wild card could be Gennaro Gattuso, again another ex-Rangers player, out of work manager. He was at AC Milan, didn't do great. Napoli, he won a cup with Napoli. That's not to be sniffed at because Napoli are traditionally one of the bigger clubs in Italy, but not in the same category as Juve or Inter or AC, who are, have won a lot more, shall we say, than Napoli. So winning a cup with them is a very good achievement. And it would just be very interesting to see how he would cope in the SPL, because he's a bit of a fiery character. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. I'd love to see that in the SPL, and it would be just interesting to see what would happen. So for the hilarity, I'd love Rangers to get Gattuso in. But yeah, if I was that way inclined, I would be wanting Van Bronckhorst in. So hopefully they don't get him. But yeah, so every cloud has a silver lining, John, and the Rangers fans out there who might watch this channel despite my allegiances to Celtic. I think it'll be fine. Maybe you should point out, when I say I think you'll be fine, that does depend on them appointing a good manager and trying to, sort of furry their way out of the massive debt that they're in again. That's maybe one thing that can be said about Gerrard's time as well. He spent all that money, he's left the club millions in debt, they've lost another £25 million this year. So, maybe not actually, maybe I'm talking rubbish. But that, again, one more thing before I move on. One thing that Rodgers didn't do, thankfully, when he left Celtic was raid the club of players. I think it might be similar to Gerrard at Villa. Obviously, guys like Ryan Kent, especially, I think, are going to start getting linked to Aston Villa. But I reckon that could just be lazy journalism and putting two and two together. Villa have got some strong forwards. That's probably the strongest part of their team. They've got guys like Leon Bailey, who's just come in from Bayer Leverkusen, and they've got the winger, I'm sure they got from Norwich last season as well, who they spent like 30 odd million on. So I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know if they're going to necessarily prioritise those positions. So like naturally over the next few days, you're going to see people like Morelos and Kent and probably like Connor Goldson, Barisic, Tavernier maybe getting linked with Villa. But I don't know if any of them will actually move. It's like when Rodgers, again, naturally this is always going to be a comparison because it's two very similar situations. There was lots of links with like Edouard or McGregor or Tierney before he left, obviously, to go to Arsenal, getting linked with Leicester straight away. None of them actually happened, so I would bank on this being a similar situation. I don't think they'll move down south. I think they'll be at Rangers until at least the end of the season, and then if they do move, I don't necessarily think it has to be to Aston Villa. But again, who knows? This is just my opinion. And while we're here, might as well talk about the Scotland game tomorrow. Sadly, I'm not vlogging it because I'm not going to Moldova, sadly. But going to the pub I'll have to do. I'm going to put up here, if I can figure out how to do it in the edit, what I think Scotland might play tomorrow, and what I would quite like to see them play. Namely this Jacob Brown lad from Stoke. I've never seen him play before, but if Clark thinks he's good enough to be in the squad, then let's see what he's all about. Let's see if he can put his mark down in a massive game. Equally, you could argue that maybe somebody like Kevin Nisbet should be getting a chance to start for Scotland. He's not had the best season so far this year, but he's been firing goals out at club level in Scotland for the last few years. So if any game he deserves a start, surely it could be argued that it's when Dykes is suspended, because obviously we're only going to have Adams from our regular front two up tomorrow. And maybe there's an argument that Sander Clark deserves a cap and goal because of how good he's been for St Johnstone this season. He's probably the reason that St Johnstone aren't further down the league than they actually are. But again, do you drop Gordon? There's no need to. So it's a hard one. Maybe if we get through and then Monday's a free game, it would be nice to see somebody like Clark get a cap, especially test himself at a high level against Denmark. But yeah, all we need to do is win tomorrow and then we're in the playoffs. And that is the minimum of what we would have wanted from this group. it was always going to be tough to win it with teams like Denmark and Austria, who I think were expected to do a lot more in this group than they actually did. But thankfully, we've stepped up and took that second place. So yeah, let's just beat Moldova tomorrow, and then we can all go and enjoy ourselves at Hampden on Monday. And yeah, so tell me what you thought of this. I thought it would be interesting to do something a bit different like this rather than just a vlog or a podcast. This is a bit of a throwback to an old Spencer FC IMO kind of video. Me and Mark are going to do a little video on this together, but he's not feeling that great after work. I think he's a bit tired. So I thought, yeah, I'll jump on and do something of my own. And I'm probably going to have to go now because the cat's calling at the door because I'm not giving him any attention. So, till next time, keep it balanced.